going on, everyone? This is your host, Sean Johnson, creator of Benchminer Hockey, and welcome to episode number 28 of our Benchminer Hockey podcast. This is the hockey podcast that covers single-A hockey news, as well as stories from players and staff. If you are watching us on our YouTube series, be sure to hit that subscribe button. And let me introduce my first guest from the Blue Ridge Bobcats, Mr. Ryall Purdy. Thanks for coming on, buddy.
Yep. Thanks for having me here, Sean. Really happy to represent Blue Ridge and the city of Wytheville. I'm just the tip of the iceberg for the amount of people who are behind this organization and this team. It's truly a blessing to have as many people as we have right now pushing us towards our October 20th goal here against Mississippi. But yeah, glad to be here. Looking forward to a great podcast.
Absolutely. Love the colors you got on, and I see you even painted your house to match the team colors.
Yep, same, everything. We're all blue here. Yep.
That's great. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to give you the floor for a minute. Tell us a little bit about yourself, because I know a lot of our viewers have been, keeping track of the Fed for a while, and they may not know who you are. So I will give you the floor. Let's hear a little bit.
Okay. So let's start back at the beginning. So there I was, just a young goalie in Upper Michigan, about 12 years old, 11, 10 years old. I grew up playing youth hockey. Copper Country Hockey Association was what it was called. And I played youth hockey until I was about 16, 17. Then I started getting into the Michigan high school hockey range. And then from there, went on and played a little bit of AAA, a little bit of AA. We called it Team Copper Country. Kind of represented a few local high schools in the area. And that gave me some good grounds to learn about the hockey world around me. Being in Michigan, it's a hotbed. Granted, we're not Lower Michigan, so it's not that hot of a hotbed. It's more of a cold bed. But the UP is a great spot for hockey players to develop and train, skate year-round, skate on the ice in the outdoor rinks or skate on the lake. And then come wintertime, you can move indoors when it gets a little too cold. But no, I grew up in the UP playing hockey, played high school hockey after a few years, and then went on and played some juniors in Montana, played in Chicago, played in Ironwood, Michigan for the Fighting Youpers. That was quite a story. That might need a podcast of its own. But played junior hockey, mostly NA3HL, a little USPHL. Afterwards, I got scouted, went and played at NAIA and ACHA D1 school, Waldorf University, Forest City, Iowa. Spent 4 years in the Corn State and finished that up, moved back home. The goal was to go home until I was able to win a Gibson Cup. And I ended up winning that in 2 years. It only took 2 years, thank goodness. Otherwise, I would still be there right now. But I got that out of the way. Now I'm chasing the Commissioner's Cup. But yeah, that kind of sums up my hockey experience. Otherwise, to sum me up, basically, I'm just a Youper trying to find his way down here in the South. It's a different world down here, but I'm loving it.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. I was not in Virginia, but I was in Charlotte for a bit, and we would keep traveling up to Winston-Salem. So you're going to be seeing a lot of Winston-Salem.
Yes. Yep. That's what I've been told. That's what I've read on the schedule. I think by the end of the year, we may have one of the fiercest rivalries besides the one down south.
Well, absolutely. I know that the fans in Carolina, they're some of the best. You know what I mean? Like, they are loyal to their team, but they are all about the sport of hockey. So Southern hospitality is a real thing there. So you're going to love going to Winston-Salem, and I know a ton of Winston-Salem fans are going to be in Wytheville, traveling back and forth. So you guys will have a nice little rivalry there, not too far apart.
Hey, yeah, that's going to be awesome. I'm looking forward to that one.
Right. So you got your Gibson Cup, and I know you said now you're chasing the Commissioner's Cup. What specifically made you want to play for a team in the Federal Prospects Hockey League?
So actually, it's funny you mentioned that. Back in 2016, I did a radio interview with the local news station back in Michigan, and they asked me what my goal was for hockey. And I thought about it for about 5 seconds and blurted out immediately what I wanted to do, and that was either go overseas or play in the Fed. Because my understanding of hockey was it goes high school, college, pro, retirement. And I learned a little bit about the minor pro, and I fell in love with it. I loved the idea of a competitive landscape where you can continue your craft and maybe have a day job, maybe do real world stuff, but just continue to beat on your craft. And that's something that I've done day in and day out, practicing from morning till night. And this is the place to give me that opportunity. It's the starting point, the bottom of the ladder, the first rung I got to climb, kind of thing.
Absolutely. No, I'm glad that you kind of said that. The Fed is kind of like, I mean, you can't make your career out of it. Essentially, you're not going to make tons of money, but the way you just said it, maybe I could work part time somewhere or have a day job and do this in the evenings. It's possible. If you're willing to put in the work and if you're willing to kind of make the schedules match, it's possible. I've seen a bunch of guys do it. So I'm glad you have that mindset, and I'm glad you're going to give that a try.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I'm gonna exhaust all the options. Try and bring in a few bucks here and there as best I can.
Absolutely. So is your goal eventually to try to make it to the SPHL or the ECHL?
Yeah, I think that's always been a goal
Mhm.
goal of mine, to advance to the highest level I possibly can play at. Um, I've started to realize that that may not be the NHL unless there's an e-bug situation down in North Carolina and they need a guy really quickly, and I'm that guy. But no, I'm going to play as long as I can. I'm going to do the most I can with my body. I realize I'm limited by my hips. I'm limited by the amount of pucks I can take off my head. And my clock is constantly ticking. So it's whatever I can do on a daily basis to reach my fullest potential. So, oh yeah, I'm gonna claw, I'm gonna scrap, I'm gonna try and reach the coast. That's definitely the goal.
Gotcha. How old are you?
27.
You got some time. You're gonna
Yep,
be all
yep.
right.
And that's the beauty of being a goaltender is we develop later in life, and our window is a little bit wider and a little bit different than a traditional like a skater as a forward or a defenseman.
hmm So it's a long shot, but for fans that don't know, only one goalie has ever made it from single A hockey to the NHL, and that's Scott Darling. So is it likely? No, but it's not impossible. So I just want fans to know that it's not
Yep.
impossible. It's been done.
Yeah, and that's where I've got a trick up my sleeve. I have something in common with Scott Darling. We share the same name, Scott. That's my middle name. So I think I got a little edge here. I think I got a chance.
I believe in you. I do.
Thank you.
And your last name, Epic. I mean, you got to be related to Brock Purdy from San Francisco 49ers, right?
I've been thinking about it, digging into some DNA testing. I'm gonna have to dig a little deeper. We're gonna have to get acquainted here, him and I. But I don't think off the top of my head, first, second, or third cousin. I don't think so. But who knows?
Okay. So you are related. Okay, got it. All right.
Somewhere down the line. Somewhere down the line. I mean, there's a paintbrush. There's a Brock Purdy. We're like a little triangle.
Oh goodness. Well, after his performance against Dallas, I think you should just tell him you guys are related and just go with
I
it.
think so. I think so.
Yeah.
That's probably the best political move.
Greatness runs in the family.
Yeah.
So, what made you want to join the Blue Ridge Bobcats?
um, to be honest, I saw it as an opportunity with an inaugural season. I've only been a part of one other team that had an inaugural season, and just being a part of something, getting it off the ground, and running with it, being a part of history. I think that's just the greatest campfire story that could ever be. And I know for a fact one day when my hips don't work, I'm going to sit there and tell my kids, hey, I was part of the Blue Ridge Bobcats when they got off the ground in their first season. And who knows, maybe dreams can come true and we can bring home that Commissioner's Cup the first year, kind of like a Vegas scenario. But no, that's what keeps me going.
Right on. Yeah, that would be really cool to, see a team in their inaugural season make it all the way. That would be almost like the Vegas Golden Knights. They almost pulled it off,
Yeah,
but
yeah, I think we can improve on their situation a little bit. We've got a secret weapon, and that's our head coach Zemi. He's he's running a ship that I think no one expected could do as well as it possibly is doing right now. From what I've seen since I've got here, guys are ready to follow him to war, and that's not something you can say with every hockey team you play for.
Oh, absolutely. Especially being a brand new, I want to say a brand new coach. I know he was coaching in Roanoke for a little bit. Um, but being, the captain of the ship, sometimes it's hard to get guys on board. You're a first time head coach. You got to earn the kid, the guys, I say the kids, you guys are grown men. You got to earn the respect of the locker room. It can be a tough situation, especially with a new team in their inaugural season. So by the sounds of it, it sounds like he's got a good grip on it.
Oh yeah, he's got a firm grip for sure.
So he actually used to play in this league. I'm sure you knew about that, right?
Yep, over in Roanoke for the Raildogs. Yep, we've actually been training for the last 2, 3, 4 weeks with a number of Raildog players. The league MVP goaltender Bushy, he's been a mainstay at the practices along a number of other players. But we've been training alongside them and just seeing what it takes to be a championship level player. So it's been a really good training aspect for a lot of us.
That's awesome because you see guys that are, at the next level, the SPHL level. I don't want to say come down because it's the same level, but there's tiers. The SPHL is a little bit, better than the Fed, but you got Austin Rodebush. He played in the Fed for Menor. You got Coach Zemi. He played in the league for Berlin and Carolina, I think. So yeah, it's awesome to see that those guys are kind of coming down to, teach Fed players and to kind of help out and help them grow.
Oh, definitely. And they've made it blatantly clear that the only difference between an FPHL player and an SPHL player is they want it all the time. They don't just want it here and there. It's the switch is always on. And that's what we need to know in order to make it to that next level.
I absolutely agree with that right there. And that's straight out of the coach's handbook right there. Um,
Yep.
if his guys are willing to fight for him and willing to grind and be gritty and it can take it just like Vegas. It could take you to the finals first year. Never know.
Exactly. Yep.
So I know that the hope is obviously the finals and a cup, but what are some of your expectations playing for a brand new team in their first year? There's going to be some highs and some lows, I'm sure, but what are some of
Yep.
your expectations?
Going into this, first off, I should probably state I'm probably the most optimistic optimist you're ever going to meet. So I already believe that we're going to have a fantastic year. Everything's going to go great. We're going to win games. We're going to win more than we lose. Everything's going to go our way. But that's not the reality. And the truth is, we have a handbook essentially, and it's sitting right here. We have a handbook that was handed out today that highlights the guidelines of how we need to be on the ice, off the ice, and everywhere around it. And by sticking to that, I think we're going to ensure that those optimistic goals are met through and through. So I can honestly say our bus isn't going to break down. We're going to win the games we need to win. We're not going to lose the games that we should lose. It's going to go our way because we've got everything that we need behind us, including the fans, the city. Heck, Barry believes in us. That's half the battle. He put a team here in Wytheville. So, I mean, everything is sort of pointing towards us having all the tools we need to create that success. And with Zemi being the head coach, we call him Zemi, Viota Zemlika. I mean, it's hard to say, so we call Zemi. But Zemi's bringing the right guys here to operate those tools. So it's like putting the right operator in an excavator. He's going to dig the right hole.
Barry is just one of those owners where he definitely does believe in Blue Ridge because not only did he put a team there, he put a rink there.
Yeah, and I think that's something that doesn't happen every day, let alone every year, every decade. I think it's a really special circumstance. Just looking at the rink itself, the Apex Center it was a rodeo building about 3 months ago, and you can still see some remnants of the red dirt floor. The locals here, they say that red dirt gets everywhere, and it's hard to truly eliminate. And that's proof where you can see it in the cracks in the corners. It's still around. It's slowly being eliminated, but the rink is taking over. It's no longer a rodeo building, but no, it's a feat in itself that we were able to have a rink in 3 months. One of the local contractors, K&A Contracting, he has single-handedly done the impossible. And built us a rink in 3 months when all the other contractors said 4, 5, maybe even 6. So everything here is pointing towards a Cinderella story.
Absolutely. And you're physically there in Wytheville now. How long have you been there?
I came down here about September 15th. The reason I had to report so early was the ice was taken out back in my hometown, and locating good ice was hard to find. So I came down here, and for the last 3 weeks, I've been commuting to Roanoke in the morning, drive an hour and a half there, an hour and a half back at about 6 a.m. Skate, work out at the Virginia Hockey Lab in the rink, Zemi's handmade project. Um, and it's been a great training resource. I'm just really, really lucky to be able to utilize it.
It's amazing that they're, hooking you up with that and helping you out with that as well. Um, Speaking of that, actually, I know we talked about Winston-Salem, rivalry. You're going to go back and forth there. Um, I've also been talking to a lot of Roanoke fans, and they actually plan on going to both Roanoke and Wytheville games because you have fans that are kind of stuck in the middle that have to travel, an hour, to Roanoke or an hour to Winston-Salem. So
Yeah.
they get another opportunity to see a third hockey team in that, triangle like area.
Yep. And that actually it utilizes the landscape down here. The interstate system is absolutely phenomenal. So travel between Roanoke, Winston Salem, and Wytheville is going to be very easy as long as all the lanes are open. Um, that in itself will definitely provide an avenue for those fans caught in the middle. Maybe they're in the middle of that little Bermuda Triangle. They can pick one of the three, and hopefully they pick us. But they'll have that opportunity to go to Roanoke games, go to our games, go to Carolina games. So I think it'll be a neat scenario. It'll be really interesting to see how it plays out this year.
100%. No, it's amazing for fans in that area. I would love to have 3 teams to go see. It doesn't really matter who you root for at that point. It's like, hockey's hockey. So
Yeah,
single A
you're just
hockey here,
watching.
single A hockey here, like
Yeah, that's a dream. That's a rink rat's dream, and I am definitely a rink rat. So
and I mean, I really wouldn't be surprised if, your team seen a few call-ups from Roanoke because of the connections with Zemi and the proximity of Wytheville to Roanoke.
it's actually funny you mentioned that. Today I went and dropped off one of my teammates and friends, Bryce French, a former Carolina Thunderbird. He is now at the main camp for the Raildogs. So there's proof that Roanoke is already utilizing the Wytheville Blue Ridge Bobcat hockey team here and pulling guys up. And who knows, maybe they'll send guys down. But that connection's been realized as of today.
That's awesome. That is, I
Yep.
mean, that's just great for single A hockey in general. You want to have a
Yeah.
good relationship with everyone. So why not the team that's closest to you?
Yep, and it's funny too. The other day I was talking to Bryce French, and he mentioned that for the last 3 years he'd been trying to get a call up, get a crack into the SPHL, and um, today it happened. Um, and it was just an incredible thing to be a part of that process, to see him reach his goal that he's been working towards. And with Blue Ridge here now, that goal is very capable, very capable.
Well, congratulations to him, and we wish him the best. Um, I mean, I've never met him personally. I did see him play in Carolina a couple times. I thought he was a phenomenal player. Great hair, great hair.
Yeah, great hair, great style. I met him here, and I my first impression was he is truly a skating cowboy. He pulled up with the hat, with the dog, at the whole 9 yards. It was incredible.
Oh man, that's hilarious.
Yeah, but no, I wish him nothing but the best, and I think he's going to have a ton of success over in Roanoke, and he's going to prove to the rest of us here that it's possible and it's within reach.
Absolutely. Like you said, a little bit of effort goes a long way, and with your positive attitude, I mean, anything's obtainable, really.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I've been telling myself that since I was a kid.
Yeah, it sounds like you got the mental toughness, and now effort on the ice. That's all you really need, and then you might get that call up next. You never know.
Exactly. Yep. You pair that with my size. I'm very blessed. I'm 6'5" and about 230. So I've got all the right stuff off the ice. I just need to figure it out on the ice.
You'll get there. You
Yep.
got
I'm
plenty
hoping
of games
so.
this season to make it happen, so you'll be all right.
Yep. Oh yeah.
So, what do you think excites you most about wearing that Blue Ridge Bobcat on your chest this year?
Um, Actually, I think the part that most excites me is I have the Blue Ridge Bobcat here. I have it on my helmet. I don't actually have my helmet with me, but through the year, you'll see it's modeled after Curtis Joseph, and I've got the Blue Ridge Bobcat not only on my head, but it'll be on my chest. But I'm just so excited to be a part of an inaugural season. I think that's just the biggest takeaway of anything.
100%. Yeah, we'll definitely have to see that. Eventually, when you get time, send us a picture. We'll share that on a bench miner so everyone can see that.
Yeah, definitely. I've been working with the mask painter Kyle Pila back in Upper Michigan, in Houghton, Michigan, and he's been painting masks for Michigan Tech University, NCAA Division I program in my hometown, and he paints masks for myself, for my previous team, the GLHL Portage Lake Pioneers. He has been painting masks for me now for 2 years, and it will be a lifetime. So I got to just make sure I keep playing hockey, and he'll keep putting masks on my head that are painted very nicely.
Absolutely. So let me ask you this. So hockey season is nearly here. We're nearing, next week or two, teams are going to start picking up, start playing here. Um, have you and your teammates been kind of hanging out, building chemistry, doing some, I don't know, drinking beer? Or what are you doing?
We've been doing a ton of promotional events in the area. We've been going out to meet the community. We've been going to different cities around Wytheville. We've been going on the radio. Just the other day, I was on a radio show over in Pulaski, the neighboring city. So there's small promotional events that are bringing the whole team together. Granted, a lot of the team is just starting to get here. There was only about a handful of us, maybe around 10 or 12 for about 2.5 weeks. There was just a small crew. So we went and made a commercial with Frozen in Time. That's a local ice cream and hot dog shop. We went and made a video at the Helheim, a haunted attraction in Wytheville. And all the while, it's a group of us going there, building chemistry by doing these crazy things together. And at the same time, we're all wearing this shirt. So we're in the community as a team, and it brings us together, and it shows the community that not only are we a team, but we're down to do some wild stuff. And the result's going to be guys are going to get along better. Guys are going to trust each other more. They're gonna build that chemistry that translates onto the ice,
Mm-hmm.
and we're doing little stuff like that. But we're going to the restaurant next door to our player housing. It's called the Log House. Delicious food, delicious beer, absolutely incredible location.
Well, like you just said, translates onto the ice. That's perfect. You don't hear that a lot because um, a lot of fans just assume, oh, they're not practicing enough, or oh, like they're not communicating out in the ice. It starts with your events like this. You develop a friendship, you develop a bond off the ice, and then it translates onto the ice. So I'm glad you kind of brought that up. A lot of fans don't see that.
No, yeah, that's something that Zemi has been pounding into our heads, whether we realize it or not. He's providing us with the opportunities to become close with our teammates, and from there, it's whatever we can make out of it. And so far, we've taken it and ran with it. So I think come season start, Mississippi Seawolves, October 20th. I think it's going to be a rude awakening for them when they meet a completely unified Bobcats team.
I don't know. Joe Pace is going to have the boys in the, I don't know, wrestling or something. So
Yeah, I
they're
just
gonna
saw
have
a
their
video of
team
him.
bonding too. So
I just saw another video of him on Facebook, and he does incredible work promoting that team. Absolutely incredible work. So I think having a fan base like he has behind his team, that's our ultimate goal. having the kids be excited when he runs into a gymnasium and they all go nuts as he does the wave. That's our dream here at our local school.
Yeah, once you get to know Joe Pace, you'll know he's a character. Um, he's he's an entertainer, a pure entertainer, a pure promoter. He's got his dream job, and he's doing a phenomenal job there in Mississippi. I'll add that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, that's the dream. That's what anybody wants.
Right. So you've told us a little bit about where you've played hockey. Your journey so far. Where do you think has been your favorite place to play so far, and why?
Um, my favorite place to play so far, and I know it's early, but it's here in Wytheville. It's almost a no brainer. I had to think about it for a second because I did spend 4 years in Forest City, Iowa, going to Waldorf University. I got my bachelor's in psychology there. I spent a lot of time in the library there. I did my time in the Corn State, and I loved it. But what has happened here in Wytheville since I've gotten here, I've never been around Southern hospitality, and the second I was introduced to it, I practically fell in love, walked down the street, and bought a house. So it's been nothing short of a magical experience here in Wytheville, and the support of people like Clay down at 103 Towing. He's been here day and night making this whole thing possible. I mean, today he picked me up and brought me to the oil change place while he was at work, and that's just something that you don't see when you meet someone 2 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. That there's just so many moving parts here that are making this an incredible journey, and I can already tell you this is my favorite place that I've ever played hockey in my entire life, and I've been going at it since I was about 3 years old, and well, that's 25 odd years ago, 24 odd years ago.
The puck hasn't even dropped yet, and it's already your favorite place.
Already my favorite place, yep. And I'm sticking with it.
Nothing wrong with that.
Oh, and one other thing too, I gotta give credit where credit's due. Our front office has been absolutely booked from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Sometimes they're there until 2 a.m. They're putting in the work. They're outsourcing it where need be. They're bringing us in to do work. Heck, I painted the crease in Wytheville. I put the blue ice down in both creases. So I honestly can say I've never done that anywhere else.
So you should know those creases better than anybody.
Yes, that's a fact.
Oh goodness, that's great. That's like, yep. Oh man, who was it? One of the players. No, Coach Brent Clark. Now he's in the SB as well, actually. But Coach Brent Clark, when he was with the Elmira Enforcers, this guy not only was the head coach, but he was a Zamboni driver as well. I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah. I can actually relate to that a little bit. I also cut the grass at the rink. So I roll around on a 0-turn lawnmower, and I make it look beautiful. And then I also use a weed whipper out there, throw some blue jeans on and some boots, and I get after it. The only warning was to not step on snakes.
Hold on. We're gonna time out. We're gonna reverse that. Did I hear weed whipper?
Yeah, weed whipper. Yeah.
Weed whipper. That's a new one. I've never heard that one. Is that a Michigan thing?
It must be. I grew up, my parents told me it's a weed whipper and you got a lawnmower. And that's how I was raised.
Oh my goodness. I've heard like trimmer. I've heard weed whacker, but never a weed whipper. That's a new one.
Yeah.
Oh man, I like that.
Thank you.
Learn something new every day, I guess. Oh boy.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Always learning. Yep.
Well, I think we found a title for this podcast.
Oh boy.
Whippin' Weeds in Wytheville. There it is.
Whippin' Weeds in Wytheville with Not So Purdy.
Oh man.
Yep.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah. But I mean, that just goes to show you we're all selling out, doing whatever it takes to get this thing off the ground.
Right. Sounds like you guys are definitely buying in, especially if you're whipping weeds outside the arena and painting creases and whatnot.
Oh yeah, definitely. Whatever's asked of me. I don't think no is in my vocabulary anymore.
Makes sense. So let me ask you this: you're a Michigan boy. do we root for the Detroit Lions or another team?
You know, I'm a Packer fan. I am a
Results
Green Bay
fan?
Packer fan. Yep. Due to the proximity to Lambeau Field, it's about 4 or 5 hours away from where I'm at. In fact, Upper Michigan, you can go right here, right? So I'm up here, and Lambeau Field's right over here. So it's a hop, skip down the way, and you're at beautiful Lambeau Field, the home of the Cheeseheads.
That's right. Home of the Cheeseheads.
Yep.
We're actually recording tonight, so actually the Packers play tonight in less than an hour. Um, are you? How do I want to word this? Do you believe in Jordan Love? Is this his team? Do you think he's the future of Green Bay?
You know, I think Aaron Rodgers left a big hole there, and I think Love is stepping up to the plate tenfold. Um, I think he's going to be the future of the franchise, without a doubt.
I do too. I was just curious because sometimes online you read a bunch of stuff and people don't believe in him. I will say I do believe in Jordan Love. I think he's a great quarterback, has a lot of potential. I do not believe
Mhm.
in Zach Wilson one bit.
Yeah, I don't have many nice things to say about Mr. Wilson, but I have a lot of good things to say about Love.
A little bit of love, that's all you need.
That's right, a little bit of love.
I had to talk football real quick because Mr. Brock Purdy might be listening. So
You know, he might be tuning into the Benchminer podcast, and if he does, he'll recognize there's a pretty familiar last name on here, and he might ask some questions about football teams. Um,
right,
it's
right.
actually funny. Um, in college, when I was at Waldorf University, just down the road at Ames, Brock Purdy was playing for Iowa State, so he was about 90 minutes down the road from me, and it was the Battle of the Purdys.
Battle of the Purdies. That's a pretty sweet battle.
Oh yeah.
All right, we'll get away from NFL real quick. Let's talk NHL real quick. Who's your NHL team?
Ooh, favorite NHL team? It's definitely the Red Wings. I grew up a Red Wings fan. Um, Although seeing what Vegas has done as of late, I think it's absolutely phenomenal. But I've been a Red Wings fan my whole life.
So we determined that you are a Green Bay Packers football fan and a Detroit Red Wings NHL fan.
Yep.
Two different cities. How did that happen?
I believe it started when my dad became a Packer fan, and I think his dad before him was a Packer fan, and so it was only right for myself to become a Packer fan. And from a young age, my dad was sort of preparing me to become a Packer fan. I had little miniature cheesehead hats. I had a Brett Favre jersey that was hung up in my room. Yeah, I think I was sort of trained to become a Packer fan.
Nothing wrong with that. I'm kind of in the same boat too. Like, for football, I kind of root for the Carolina Panthers. I don't like to admit that. They're the only winless team in the NFL, but the 0-5 Carolina Panthers, I'll root for them, and then the New York Rangers are my hockey team. So I'm
Okay,
there with you.
okay,
And I will say that I'm from a small town in New York, so closest to Buffalo, I guess. We're about 3 hours from Buffalo. That would be the closest NFL team to us. I
okay.
would always go to the New York Jets games because they were dirt cheap because they're so damn bad. So I started rooting for the Jets for a while, and then when I moved to North Carolina, we lived 5 minutes from the Carolina Panther Stadium. So went to a few Panthers games and I fell in love with it. I love it there. So I guess I got to root for them now.
Yeah, I think it's only right then. But actually, something fun about New York. I went up to New York this summer for the free agent camp. That's actually where I was scouted for this team. And I never knew there was so many vineyards and wineries up in upstate New York. It was I feel like I could make an entire summer out of tasting all of them.
Yeah, you're not kidding. I mean, just in the Watertown area, I can think of like six off the top of my head. So
Yeah,
there's tons up here.
yeah, it's absolutely incredible. But wine tasting is not conducive to hockey training, so I got to stay away until I retire.
I wouldn't go that far, but all right, whatever you got to tell yourself, that's fine.
Yeah, right.
So, what about some of your hobbies in the summertime when you're not, playing hockey?
So in the summertime, I spend most of it on a 40-acre property, my parents' property, and then I've got a townhouse with my girlfriend. We spend most of our time out at the parents' house, though. We call it the therapy farm, and we got a little tiny dog that runs around and absolutely loves it. And we go riding around on golf carts, spend a lot of time in the woods. But the majority of my time is spent in the weight room. I love lifting weights. I love powerlifting. I've been doing it now for a number of years. And if I'm not powerlifting and I'm not fishing, um, I'm probably watching a hockey related video or doing something hockey related. It's been something that has sort of consumed me over the last maybe eight years or so. I've just fallen deeper and deeper into the hockey hole, and there's nothing else I'd rather be doing. I'm doing what I love, and I'm going to do it as long as I can. But my summertime hobbies are hockey, fishing, and nature, being outside.
Right there with you. Um, I wish I had more time to be an outdoorsman because I used to enjoy fishing and hunting a lot, and I just kind of got out of it because, life, uh, podcasting, becoming a dad, work, a little bit of everything. But I would love to get back out there and start doing some stuff again.
Oh yeah, I mean it's always fun to keep up with the race of life, but it's also pretty easy to walk down to the local Walmart and buy some meat rather than go out in the woods and hunt for it.
Absolutely. So we're running out of time here. I'm gonna end this with asking you your way too soon NHL Stanley Cup Finals predictions. Who do you think will be in the finals this year?
That's an easy answer. Stevie Eiserman's going to build the program that the Red Wings need, and the Red Wings are going to be the Stanley Cup champions. They are going to prove everyone wrong and come out of the grave.
I will say I was rather pretty impressed with his free agents signings this year.
Yes, I've been keeping up with
The
the
last 2 years,
preseason
actually.
games. Yeah, oh yeah, he's been absolutely lights out the last few years. I think he's the man that the Red Wings needed in their front office for a long time, and now that he's home in Hockeytown, I think the right chips are in place. I think it's going to be Dylan Larkin leading the ship, and whoever else buys in, I think they're going to find a lot of good fortune at the other end of the road.
Right. If you would have said Detroit 2, 3, 4 years ago, I probably would be laughing right now. But
Yeah,
I mean, I'll give it to you. I will because,
yep.
like you just said, they've came a long way these last 2 years, and they have some key pieces that are. That's just like, man. I tell you what. I don't mean to jump off topic here, but the Carolina Hurricanes, mind you, I'm not a Carolina Hurricanes fan. I did go to one playoff game last year, and it was electric. But when is it their time? Like they have been right there every year for the past like 5 years.
That's one of those questions that doesn't really have an answer. I wish I knew. I don't know what they got to do. Maybe more storm surges at the end of games.
We'll all get into it. Come on, everybody.
Yeah, yeah. Everybody, we can start doing it here.
Wytheville and Winston-Salem and Roanoke, y'all better start doing it to give them some good juju or something.
That's right. We're gonna have to storm surge at the same time to generate some power for them.
Oh, unreal. Well, Ryall, it's been awesome talking to you, boss. I really appreciate you coming on. Is there anything you want to say to Benchminer hockey fans or Wytheville fans or Winston-Salem fans, whatever?
Yeah, I got a few things. First, I wanna shout out to my mom and my dad. Without them, none of this would be possible. They've pushed me along and given me all the opportunities that I need to be successful. And without their love and support, I don't think I'd have made it even an inch in this direction. Um, for the fans tuning in, October 20th, our season starts. We're going to play the Mississippi River Wolves, Sea Wolves, one of those wolves. There's a lot of river
Yeah.
creatures this year in the FPHL.
There's a lot of wolves and a lot of river creatures, river monsters. So
Yeah, we're gonna call them River Monsters. Not the
Yeah.
Jeremy Wade, but we're gonna call them River Monsters. But to all the fans tuning in, be nice to the goaltenders and come out and support the Wytheville Blue Ridge Bobcats. We're a new team. We need a lot of new fans. We need a lot of love, a lot of support. We'll reciprocate it tenfold. Let's go Bobcats.
Nicely said. We will see you on October 20th.
Sounds good.